Hello and welcome to another vlog. Today I'm off for a wild camp at Carmel Head on Anglesey. Now it's the Sunday of the May bank holiday weekend and the weather is absolutely spectacular. And I wanted to get away to a part of the island that I fully expect to have pretty much to myself. It's about 2 or 3 square miles of heathland on the cliff tops around Carmel Head. I've got a couple of specific images in mind, but other than that it's just going to be a let's see what we can find. So the idea is shoot golden hour, sunset, wild camp, get up at dawn and get some early morning shots. So I'm going to be heading over in that direction. You might just be able to make out the sea in the distance. It's going to be a hell of a hike. It's about 3 kilometers to where I'm planning to spend the night, and I've got about 45 pounds on my back. It's probably going to kill me, so you may not hear from me again, and if you do, it won't be until I've got where I'm going and I've recovered. So I'm just taking a break now. I'm about halfway to where I'm heading. If you follow my channel, you might recognize where I am at the moment. I've just stopped off at Tokina, which is a place I came to back in, I think, late February, early March, something like that, for an early morning shoot. And part of what I was shooting here is one of my subjects for tonight, but I'm going to be shooting it from a completely different angle. Now there's the rock over there, and on the far side of that rock there is actually a stone arch, and as you can see from the position of the sun, it's going to swing round to the right and set over there pretty much behind the Skerries lighthouse. So what I'm aiming to do is to climb up that cliff top, and I'll be camping up on the top there somewhere, don't know yet, but the idea is to shoot back down towards the other side of this outcrop and see if I can get some nice golden light on the arch, and also I might see if I can do anything with the Skerries lighthouse. I'm looking at that for tomorrow morning because the dawn light is going to be hitting it from the side, over from the right hand side and from the top of the cliff with a long lens. I'm hoping that might be an interesting picture. So I'm gonna refill my water bottle from the lake here and then head up the cliffs. Well, I didn't think there'd be much going on down here on the beach as far as taking pictures is concerned. I went to just fill up my water pouch, and I noticed the trees that I shot here even a couple of months ago. A lot of them have had the tops completely sheared off, and they weren't at all like that. With the light coming across this way, straight over the sea, up to the lake, made quite an interesting shot, even in this really harsh light. So they are side lit, but you know, I just grabbed my camera out of the bag. I just got a 35mm prime on it, so I just used that for a couple of snaps. It looks interesting. Don't know how the picture's going to turn out, but we'll see. Well, I didn't quite make it all the way to Carmel Head itself. I'm up on the top of the cliffs, about 150 feet above sea level. Perched right on the edge. I'll show you where I am in a moment. I figured if I walked all the way up to Carmel Head, I'd run the risk of not getting set up and organised in time for golden hour, because we're not far off going into it now. So I've got myself organised. 2 really important things I need to do, and then I'm just going to scout round and get an idea of what compositions I might be working with. The first of the really important things is Macallan Gold. Fabulous. And the second of the really important things, shout out to Mr. James R. Burns, jelly babies on a wild camp. Who knew? Absolutely fabulous. Thank you, James. One of the finest photographers and fell walkers you will ever find. So I'm just going to poke about. I can't walk too far, otherwise it's straight down into the sea. My thoughts of doing the arch at Anglesey, complete fail. The arch is not visible at all from this angle, but I'm hoping to get some really nice light on it. Next to no cloud on the horizon, so it's going to get some nice oranges and pinks later on. But yeah, life doesn't get much better than this. Cheers. I just noticed the light on these cliffs just underneath where I'm camped, so just getting a couple of shots of this at the moment. You don't often get a sort of situation where the light is so constant because there's absolutely no clouds at all. I've got time to try out different compositions and move the camera around, maybe a bit of foreground, maybe not, and it's a rare treat to be parked somewhere like this and have the next couple of hours where no disturbance whatsoever, just sit here and take pictures. Absolutely fabulous. So this is where I'm set up for the next shot. The light is now looking fabulous. Hasn't got any real colour in it as yet. It hasn't gone orange, pink and what have you, but the sun is so low now. We're only about 20 minutes from sunset, so it's really creating some beautiful textures in those rocks. Going to take a few shots here. This is a classic example of a full-on focus stack and exposure blend. I don't want to lose any detail in the dark areas at the bottom of the cliffs. The flowers in front of the camera are probably only about 3 feet into the frame, so I'm going to focus on those, meter for those because they're really bright, and then probably another 2 metering and focus points down the cliff. I think I've got a few usable exposures there that I can stitch together in Lightroom and Photoshop. So I'm going to head back on up the cliff here, because to be honest with you, it's more than a little bit scary. So I'll head at the top and see if I can get a slightly different composition. So I've moved a bit further up and I've now got again some nice foreground. These rocks with the really bright lichens on them, lovely light landing on them now. Got a bit of separation on the horizon, so I've got Hawkeye Head mountain, a little bit of extra interest, and again it's creating more depth in the scene because I've now got 3 very specific focuses in the frame, all at substantially different distances. So again, just playing around with this, slightly different compositions, slightly different focal lengths, shooting at actually quite a wide aperture now. I'm down to about f10, so again a fair bit of focus stacking to be done, but I really don't want to lose any detail. Well, the light has gone much quicker than I expected. There's this bank of clouds appeared on the horizon which didn't feature in any of the weather forecasts as usual, but it's still a pretty pleasant composition. I've got a wide shot that's picking up this bay, something like this, shooting at f22, see if we can get a bit of a starburst effect on the sun, and those clouds actually, once the sun drops down a bit, might create some interesting colours, but I wanted to get a couple of shots while there's some reflections running across the sea, because that looks lovely at the moment. I'm hoping I've got some nice images, but you know, if I haven't, it really doesn't matter too much, because here I am perched on a cliff top gonna rustle up some grub, enjoy a beautiful evening, and then we'll see what happens at sunrise. Well, good morning. It's about 5:20 and I slept like a log. I think the hip flask helped a bit because, to be honest, I woke up about an hour ago with a slight hangover. Anyway, I've got really lucky this morning. There wasn't supposed to be a cloud in the sky, but as you saw last night, I got some clouds that I wasn't expecting. But they're still here this morning, and what that means is they're getting lit up absolutely beautifully. I've climbed up a little bit to get a bit of elevation, and I'll just let you see. That's the sort of thing I'm looking at this morning. Beautiful colours. So this is where I'm set up. I'm just shooting at about 24mm. It's given me a good piece of sky in it with these lovely colours, and I've got these rocky outcrops as a foreground. Obviously the exposure is quite challenging at the moment because the sky is now quite light, but the tone values in the foreground are still really dark, so it's going to be an exposure blend, but well worth the effort, I'm sure. And I've just noticed some really nice patterns forming in those clouds over the lighthouse. I'll come back down to the cliff top here because that gives me the best angle on the lighthouse. That little pink bank of clouds above it has some absolutely stunning textures in it. I mean, this is really lucky. I didn't expect this at all. I thought it was going to be a clear sky and I'd just be waiting for side light on the lighthouse. So I've got a few shots of that I'm really happy with, and the sun is going to be properly up probably in about 20 minutes or so, and that should then be my final shot, and I'm going to put the long lens on and really feature the lighthouse. So far really happy. It's been a fabulous trip out. I can totally recommend this area if you want a really quiet wild camp away from anywhere, and some of the most outstanding scenery you'll see anywhere on the Welsh coastline. Well, I think the photography is all done for now. The light show is over, but it was pretty special. The only downside is that it came up so quickly and so unexpectedly that I'm not sure that I've really done the best I could in terms of composition. But it's not too much of a problem because I can always come back another time. I've really enjoyed it, and it's actually the first time I've been out overnight on this part of the island, so I'll certainly be doing that again. So I'm just going to have a nice cup of coffee. It's about 6 AM. Going to get myself packed up, finish the jelly babies, and head home to take the lovely Mrs. G out for lunch later on. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks ever so much for tuning in. And as always, if you haven't subscribed yet, why not do it now and join me next time. Cheers.